Welcome, welcome to Freaked Out with your psychic medium host, Liz. That's me. I actually had a lot of feedback from you guys in relation to the last episode we did in relation to Selena and talking about Yolanda quite a bit through that episode. And you're right. I agree. So I decided that we're going to dedicate this episode all to Selena and just talk about her and her experiences because I know you guys want to hear from her. So Selena and I put an episode together today for you guys. I didn't tell many people that this episode was coming, so it's been on the DL for a little while, so I'm glad to share this information with you today. I also want to point out that she is so fun. Like, she is one of those spirits that connecting with her just made me smile and laugh the whole time. She is so incredibly encouraging and motivating, and all she made me do is just want to get up and make a bunch of TikToks, make a bunch of videos for you guys because she just, I don't know, she's so good at motivating. And, you know, we had a long talk about haters. Believe it or not, she tells me that she had her own set of haters, many of them. And people calling her too fat, people calling her, you know, non-American, just a lot. And it doesn't surprise me, though, in the slightest. She also talked a lot about things happening with her husband. Anything that he posts or put up, she is heavily involved in, and she enjoys every minute of it. Even now, his dedication and loyalty to her, even now, just makes her that much more excited. First things first, I do want to give a shout out to a special person. Now, funny enough, the last time I made the video, Selena kept saying, give a shout out to this person. And I was like, they're never going to watch this episode. But sure enough, they did in fact watch the episode. So she wanted to say hello to my friend Jace. Jace is a longtime friend of Landon and I, and she thinks he's so adorable. He recently just obtained a book about her, and it just made her so happy and excited because I was in the process of making this episode when all that transpired. So she just wants you to know that she loves that you got the book, and I know that there's much more that you're going to bring forward to her as well. So she's sending a heart for you. I'm not good at making those hearts. And yes, she still wears the red lipstick. She looks the same. She has not aged one bit. I also wanted to give a shout out to all of our exclusive members. Thank you all for being here. There are specific questions that you guys had asked me to ask her, so we're going to get started right here, right now. So here we go. Oh, and I did also want to mention that the next episode we're dropping, which will be dropping in a couple of days, is the Vanderpump episode part 1, and Landon will be here for it. So I'm very excited to share that episode with you guys. It's going to be fun because we talk a lot about Vanderpump stuff, and Landon and I have very different opinions on Vanderpump, so it'll be funny to say the least. Okay, so first question up. So when Dreaming of You was released, how much of this English album was in fact released to the public? And before she died, were there any unreleased songs that never came out? That was a really good question. But she keeps showing me the number 5. But for whatever reason, although she agrees, the family kept them hidden. And not for any other reason than they were just not ready to be put out there. There were 2 or 3 songs that were more finished than the other 2. The other 2 were just like words, just written on paper and sound based upon what she wanted to do. She was trying to actually incorporate a mixture, kind of combining the Latin sound and the American sound together and just doing something really special. She shows me that they have talked about it in the past to kind of bring all of their songs and the incompleteness together to make just one final song for her, but it doesn't seem to fit or work, and it's unfortunate. But with that being said, it may happen at some point, perhaps maybe in the future. There is one particular family member that has zero interest in dropping this mashup song, but at least there's been talk about it, so we could at least say that. Even above and beyond those 5 songs, she was already working on another album which was different themed. She was going to be doing mashups with some other celebrity singers. She was going to do a bunch of different things, but there were talks about her and others collabing, and she really wanted to do that so much. And she shows me that there were talks of her and Aaliyah collabing as well. Can you imagine? How amazing would that have been? Anyways, I do want to tell you though that they do musical performances up there, and yeah, they do old songs, but they also do new stuff. And my God, I would love to hear any of it. But anyways, that's what I'm being told to tell you guys today on the songs. Was she planning on having children soon? So I know that Abraham was not on board when it came to her and Chris being together, and then eventually he got over it, but we'll talk about that a little later. But there was a promise made of waiting at least 3 years before deciding to go forward and having children, and they agreed. However, with that being said, Selena tells me that they were not taking any precautions. And she felt that although pregnancy may hinder her to do as much as she had done, she felt like she could pull off a pregnant singer no problem and continue to go about with her band. And Chris agreed with that. So the two of them were just letting nature take its course in the way they wanted to. She shows me that they were planning to have 3 children, and they were not going to change or turn their children into like a family band in the way that her dad did. But she also says that if she had any children that were interested in singing, she would have absolutely encouraged them, which is ironic because she wasn't supposed to be someone who died. Let's just put it out there. Everyone has a time, a date, a plan of when we're supposed to die. But she was not supposed to die at that point. It was not part of the plan in any capacity. So that turned us into a completely different timeline. And all of those children that were supposed to be born to her are with her still to this day now, because they couldn't come and they're waiting. They all decided to wait with her until she comes back. And one day she will. It won't be anytime soon though, guys. She is planning to have her time with her husband and her family before she comes back. So I'll either be gone or very old when she comes back and graces us with her presence. And unfortunately, I just don't see it happening in this lifetime. Boo. Maybe the youngins. Maybe the under 20 will have that luxury. She also wanted to take her children traveling. That part she did enjoy about being on the road, was seeing things. She, though, would have done more play, less work with her little family. So that's what she had planned to do. And I see her beautiful singing daughter, and I do see a boy. I can't see the 3rd child, but I know there's 1 girl and 1 boy indefinitely. She also wanted to make damn sure that she found a good man in her life before she had any children. And when Chris came into her life, she knew instantly he was going to be the man that she saw in the future being the father of her children. Now, the next question was, were there a lot of unresolved issues with her father? This one's a tough one to talk about for many different reasons. And the first piece of that being, he had good intentions. She believed her father really loved her deep down inside. And although he was business as usual, there were moments where his fun side and his humorous side would come out. So she says that, yes, they did have a lot of butting head moments, but she was also learning how to take her voice back. She shows me that probably right at the time her and Chris got married is when she decided that she was no longer going to allow him or anyone to dictate the movements in her life. She wanted a break, and he wasn't willing to give her that. And she wanted to have a lot less, connection to dad. She wanted to start doing her own things. And also dad wasn't having that either. In his mind, she's still my daughter, my little girl. She did not like that mentality. And for her children, her and Chris often would talk about how they would never raise their children in a way that when they become old enough to make their own decisions, continue to control them. And she was fighting back a lot. She said that she was getting real sassy there at the end, and it didn't matter what he said. She said no to him more often than not. Even with Yolanda, she shows me, and she doesn't blame her father, but if he hadn't been as he had been, perhaps maybe she could have seen those red flags a lot sooner. Because he was so about everything, she missed out on that. And she wanted to rebel against anything. It could have been ice cream flavor. She said if he wanted vanilla ice cream, she'd say, no, I want chocolate. Like, she was at that very rebellious stage in her life. And she loves her dad. She is disappointed with a lot of the choices he has made in his life surrounding her and her music. But like family, it's water under the bridge. She forgives him. And she also is referencing that his health has not been good and that he ignores his health issues a lot, actually. She's referencing salt. She's referencing his eating habits, and she's referencing that he's ignoring some issues. And she says that it's all work and no play. So she just wants him to take care of himself. And of course, the thing that broke the camel's back was the fact that he did not trust Chris. And he got too involved in that. He was trying to tell her a lot of terrible things about him, and she didn't care anymore at that point. At that point, it was like an aha moment, like, wait a minute. If he thinks this really amazing guy is not treating me right, when in fact he is, he's clearly just using me for the money. She did feel like that a lot, but she doesn't feel like that completely now, even though he does, in my opinion. She loves him, though. She's not going to say that. Speaking of her husband, Chris, it's like her favorite chapter above anything else. Now, in case you guys don't know, he was actually the lead guitarist in her band. And of course, he became one of the more significant people in her life. What her father didn't realize was that no matter what he did, because he would pull her away from any male attention. But there are always people around. There were people with the band. There were people with, setting up the costumes. There were people with everything. There were people all over the place. It was inevitable that she was going to fall for someone connected to her, someone that she was connected to very much. And she shows me that they had a lot of sneaky moments together, even way before anyone else knew. And I'll tell you, that was her favorite time with him. Now, because of this situation, they got together really quick. And because her father was so against it, they got married really quick. But in my opinion, she had such a little amount of time in her life. And she had known that she was running out of time. She probably would have married him even earlier. She told me that life was so serious 24/7. There were only 2 times in her life that it wasn't serious. 1 being with him, and 2 being on stage, doing her acts, singing for everyone. She had fun doing that. And that's the only reason she continued to carry on with her career. She also wants to point out that if in fact she was still alive to this date, even a year after she had been killed, she shows me that she was going to get out from under her father's thumb and do her own thing, and diminishing all of that. Now, of course, she would have still financially taken care of her family, but she would have been in more control, and dad would not have had the legal rights that he has had this entire time. But going back to her and Chris, she shows me that he made her laugh, and there weren't a lot of moments of laughter for her. It was almost as if she wasn't allowed to laugh and have fun unless she was on that stage. And he brought that to her. They snuck out a lot. And I see them in either a vehicle or something, but they ran off and would hide and just sit under the stars and love life. And they even went skinny dipping, and they went to the beach, and like they did so much together. And traveling around, having that romantic wind whirl was the best thing she could have ever had. They never had arguments or fights. Of course, they had moments, but it was never anything excessive. And she loved it. And she hopes that every single person in this world gets to experience that. And she thinks it's sad that there are people out there that are still in very toxic relationships and have never felt that kind of love. So she highly recommends her ladies to get out there before they die and experience that kind of love, because it's worth it. Now, as we've already talked about, Selena's father did not approve of Chris and disrespected him a lot. And Selena was not having it. She had zero interest in her father being disrespectful. In fact, she shows me that there was a point in time when she was like, it's either you accept it or I am done. She was going to cut off everything, and he couldn't have that. So that's, in my opinion, why he accepted Chris. But I feel like the acceptance was very meek, and I don't feel like he was giving her everything she deserved in that moment. He never appreciated her, and that's what I see. She didn't say that. And I feel like although there was acceptance, there really wasn't acceptance. He was very untrustworthy of anyone. And Chris, he looked at him like a punk. He looked at him like somebody trying to take advantage of his daughter. But this was something he was not going to win. And she told him that. And I'm proud of her for doing so. And she shows me that that was the plan moving forward, to continue to keep sharing and telling dad no and taking control of her own life. Her and Chris had plans of what they had planned to do. Never sharing that information with her dad, though, because baby steps. In 1992, the two of them eloped because she was worried her dad wouldn't approve. And I mean, I get why. Her father was extremely hurt when she did this. And he might have had a moment of realization, like, okay, why did she do this? To hurt me? No, she did this because she knew I wasn't going to accept it. So there were moments where he understood where she was coming from, but it did put a pretty significant strain on their relationship. And that is when he indulged in the no babies for 3 years rule, which is so weird because I know that you want the best for your children, but it doesn't seem like that was the case. I feel like it was more, you need to keep working, working, working. I believe that even after, let's just say she decided to wait on those 3 years, she wouldn't have. But if she had, he would have pushed it again another 3 years. Oh, wait till you're 30, wait till you're 40. Like, dude wanted to continue to keep controlling things. And here's Selena being treated like a queen by Chris. And not once did Chris ever treat her the way her father did. And it was really refreshing. She always thought that men didn't have that unconditional love kind of side until she met Chris. And I think that was another reason why she fell hard for him. He really did treat her like a queen. And I do believe that her mom tried to reason with her dad a lot, but I mean, it's difficult when you have a very stubborn man. But she did her absolute best. And although she may not have expressed it, but she was excited for Selena and hoped that she would have a baby. Maybe not right away, but soon. Now, we all know that Chris and Selena did have a happy marriage, but it was busy and hectic because they were on tour together. And Chris had often said that she was an amazing wife, playful, caring, and deeply in love. And that's the best medicine. And that kind of relationship does not cheat. Just an FYI. Not that any of us believed that. I don't know if she had a tattoo before she passed away, but she definitely has one now. And it looks as though it's like a tiny little heart. on her wrist, and that's in relation to Chris. She wants to have him with her at all times. Now, sadly, as we all expected, Chris went into a deep depression after she had been murdered, and he struggled with substance abuse, and it took him a long time to come out of that. He ended up writing a memoir to Selena, sharing details and intimate details about their love story, and I haven't even read it yet, but I'm excited to read it when I get the chance, and I'll tell you, I'm more than excited. I love romance. She shows me that during that dark time in his life, if you guys have ever watched the movie Twilight, when Bella becomes an adrenaline junkie, let's say, so that she could see Edward, same thing. Chris was involving himself in drugs. Now, he had done drugs before. We're not going to lie about that. But the drugs helped him feel closer to her. And he may have been trying to kill himself in the process because he wanted to be with her. He didn't feel like he needed to go on. But from what Selena shows me, she basically spent the first 5-6 years just with him, trying to show him that there were better ways of going about doing your life and that they would see each other eventually, and she wanted him happy. She shows me she came to him in dreams. She shows me she came to him in drug-induced states. She shows me that there was a really bad, close to death moment for him. And in case you guys aren't aware, but when we do have close calls to death, we're closer, we're connected, we channel a lot easier, we can see the other side a lot easier. And I believe that was when Chris could see Selena indefinitely, and she told him that this was not what she wanted for him. From what I feel, he still sees her and feels her and hears her. So I feel like that moment, although scary as shit, was something he needed to happen in order to break this cycle. And it took him a while to get there, but he did. And I think he thanks Selena for that. He later remarried and had children. There was a deep amount of guilt surrounding getting married, surrounding having children. And every time a new chapter unfolded for Chris, he felt guilty. But she tells me she'd never wanted that. She felt like he deserved to be happy, even if it wasn't to the extent of happiness that the two of them had. She still feels like he deserves the absolute happiness, and she likes the person he's with, and she likes who he's become, and she loves his kids, and she's there watching over them too. In her mind, they're her kids too. She said that she would have helped him even if the two of them split up. Not that that would have happened, but if he had children of his own, she would have been there to support those children too. She's a very loving person. She calls him by name all the time. She whispers his name, and I know he can hear her, but you know, it's something you don't like to share with people. She has these really cool wings. They're like bright red. It's very sparkly up there. What drove me crazy, and the part of this story that makes me sad for him, Chris specifically, is that he had to fight Selena's family with legal issues, especially Abraham, over the rights to his story with his wife. Now that really pissed Selena off because her father has made money off of her name since passing. And Chris, yeah, okay, he knew he would make some money doing this, but he also wanted to show a part of Selena that we didn't get to see. More than anything else, his story with him. It also helped really heal him. Writing it down, it was very therapeutic. It just helped him get to the next stages. And here comes Abraham going, no, you can't have that. That was your daughter's husband. He's got the right to do so. She shows me that she wishes her father would have just kept out of that. And actually, she doesn't like that he does any of the suing things at all. She understands to certain things like Yolanda, of course. But when it comes to anything surrounding anyone who genuinely knew her, she wants him to let it go. And she hopes he does. She also tells me that that's another reason why putting things like this out there is scary. And that's another reason why I didn't share a lot of the Selena stuff, because I, in fact, was also afraid of Abraham and what he would try to do. But Selena does want everyone to know that she still, to this day, loves her dad very much. And although he's a pain in her ass, she wants him to have a peaceful rest of his life. And she hopes that he takes care of himself and that he learned his lesson and that he just stops and enjoy his elderly age. Now, Chris remains a respected musician, talks about Selena a lot. She also has a message for her fans, and she just wants you to know this. You guys have been there from the very beginning. Even if you didn't know who she was before she passed away, you fell in love with her story. You cried for her. You fought and fought hard to make damn sure that Yolanda was looked at as a monster. She says that she'll never forget a single soul who was there praying and comforting and flowers and dedications and fighting. She cannot believe how many people loved her at that point, and she appreciates that so much. She sends her music all the time, so if you do happen to be a Selena fan and hear her music come on Spotify, radio, whatever the case may be, that's her letting you know that she sees you. She really loves Florida. That is a place that she just enjoys. And for whatever reason, I know she was from Texas, but she just loves Florida to death. And she visits Florida often. And she says she says that her music gets played a lot in Florida too. She appreciates how kind people have been to Chris, and she hopes people continue to be kind to him. And she also takes credit for finding Chris's wife. She feels like there were many women that were trying to obtain his attention, and she wanted to make damn sure that she found someone who was going to treat him kind and respect the loss of his wife. She shows me that there have been many moments where Chris has teetered with health issues as well, and she wants him to take care of himself as well. She tells me to tell you all that she could never have done any of the things she had done without her fans. And although the fan club was, it wasn't at first, she really loved it. She enjoyed the interaction. She enjoyed communicating with her fans. She enjoyed every aspect, and she wished she could do that to this day. And she tells you to, and she just wants you all to know she just loves you all. But that is everything I have for you guys on Selena today. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was, like I said, really fun to connect with her, channel with her. She is amazing. And we'll be back here soon. So until next time, guys, stay freaked out.